According to Roman Catholicism, a venial sin is a lesser sin that does not result in a complete separation from God and eternal damnation in hell as an unrepented mortal sin would. A venial sin consists in acting as one should not, without the actual incompatibility with the state of grace that a mortal sin implies. They do not break one's friendship with God, but injure it. Definition: an act, when it is not ordered towards that which is good, is considered to be sinful either venially or mortally. When such an act is venially sinful, it entails subject matter that is not considered to be grave. Such an action, even if it is committed with full knowledge and full consent, remains venial, so long as the subject matter of the act is not serious. If the subject matter of a given act is grave, however, the commission of that act may be mortally sinful. Thus, in discussing the distinction between venial and mortal sin in his Summa Theologica, St. Thomas Aquinas indicated that a venial sin differs from a mortal sin, in the same way that something imperfect differs from something that is perfect. As such, one can arrive at what kind of sin, for example, was committed, by asking the following three questions: did the act involve grave matter? Was the act done with full knowledge of the grave and sinful nature of the act? Was the act done with full consent of the will? If all three questions are answered in the affirmative, the criteria for a mortal sin have been met. If any one of the three questions are answered in the negative, only the criteria for a venial sin have been met. In cases of doubt regarding any of these three questions, it is assumed that the criteria for a mortal sin were not met. Each venial sin that one commits adds to the penance that one must do. Penance left undone during life converts to punishment in purgatory. A venial sin can be left unconfessed so long as there is some purpose of amendment. One receives from the sacrament of reconciliation the grace to help overcome venial, as well as mortal sins. It is recommended that confession of venial sins be made. Venial sins require some kind of penance. According to the magisterium, venial sins usually remain venial no matter how many one commits. They cannot add up to collectively constitute a mortal sin, but their accumulation does lead to being more vulnerable to committing mortal sin. There are cases where repeat offenses may become a grave matter. For instance, if one were to steal small amounts of property from a particular person, over time one would have stolen enough that it would develop into a serious theft from that person. In all this, one ought not to take venial sin lightly, especially when committed deliberately. No one without a special grace can avoid even semi-deliberate venial sins entirely. But one must, to avoid mortal sins, seek to overcome venial sins. The magisterium teaches that although a number of venial sins do not themselves add up to a mortal sin, each venial sin weakens the will further, and the more willing one becomes in allowing such falls, the more one is inclined towards, and will inevitably fall into, mortal sin. In literature, The Venial Sin is a short story by Honoré copyright de Balzac. References. External links: Sin in Catholic Encyclopedia, The Venial Sin by Honoré de Balzac, Catechism of the Catholic Church Mortal and Venial Sin. See also, Mortal Sin, Imperfect Contrition, Perfect Contrition, Summa Theologica.